Welcome back to Home Sweet Home Cooking. I am your host Rocky in my mother's kitchen. My mom is behind me, and today we're making a mess out of her kitchen.
Another one.
We had prime rib for Christmas, and we've got a little bit of leftovers. We got the meat on the bone, so we're going to be utilizing the leftovers and making one of her comfort foods, potato soup. But instead of using bacon or ham in it, I'm going to use the prime rib. I think that would be fantastic. There's going to be no recipe in the links. There'll be no links, nothing in the box down below. Just follow along. I'm just throwing stuff together what sounds good. So what I've done is I've got a 48 ounce thing of beef broth, and I put that in the Dutch oven. And I already have the bones. They've simmered for about an hour because they were very rare yet. But then this meat is still pulled apart tender. And I mean, folks, this is prime rib. It was delicious just like that. But I'm gonna go ahead and
We'll throw the other stuff out and eat the bones.
yeah, might as well. Well, you can eat the bones. I like the meat off the bones. So I'm gonna get the meat pulled off of here. First, before we do that, I'm gonna go ahead and get this broth going again. This is the same broth that the bones boiled in. We've got some au jus left over. I'm gonna use that for flavor as well. If I need to, I can add a little more water. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get some onion in there. Like it looks like 3/4 of an onion left over. We've got some leftover celery. I'm gonna get that diced up, get that boiling, and I've got one russet potato. I'm gonna peel this, dice this up fine, and get this going. I want this to overcook. I want this to be because we were talking about potatoes before. This is a mealy potato. When this boils, it tends to fall apart, and I want this one to disintegrate because I want that when you make a cream, like a cream potato soup, you've got that potato broth, but it's got little potato chunks in it. That's what the russet's gonna do. I've also got 1.5 pounds of these little baby yellows, and I'll dice these up, and once this is cooked through and I get everything assembled, I'll put this in along with the medium rare prime rib that's left, and just put that in until the potatoes cook through, and it should be done. So without further ado, I'm gonna make a mess. So let's get this going here. I'm going to start with the onions. I'll go ahead. I'm also wanting to do this on the induction cooker so I can do some more testing on that. I'm going to get this. I'm going to go ahead and hit the high sear and start. Enamel coated cast iron Dutch oven. It works on the induction cooker just like it said it should. So we'll get that going. I'm going to get this back to a boil. And like I said, I'm just kind of going by eye.
Aye.
Probably going to be about a cup of celery, maybe a little bit more. I'm just using what I got. And as you notice, it's the whole celery, so there's little bits of the celery leaf on the inside too. There'll be some bigger chunks and some smaller chunks. So some will boil down to nothing and some will still give you a little bit of crunch. And onion. You can do the whole onion if you want. I just don't feel like peeling another onion. This is what we have left. And do my little quick dice. Go through my radial wedges. And then cut them into dice. I think this is still the fastest and the most controllable way to get an even dice of any way you can do an onion. Then I'll peel that potato. And get that in there. So that's about for us, about almost 2 cups of onion, probably a good 1.5 cups. And the baked potato.
And I don't care what else you put in, but make sure you put this in it.
What is that?
Bay leaf.
Ah.
It's my comfort soup,
It
and I
is.
don't care if you're comfortable or not.
Normally, like say for potato soup would be the bacon. I'm doing prime rib in this, so you can do whatever you want. You can do chicken in potato soup if you want, or I should say not bacon, but ham would be in a potato soup. It's kind of what you have, and leftovers is a great way to make soups.
I never put meat in mine.
Well, you don't have to, but a lot of people, you'll get your potato soup, then you put bacon on top, like you would a baked potato,
That would be okay.
But I don't feel like frying bacon. And we're already going to have prime rib in it. Do we really need bacon? Well, yeah,
No.
we probably do need bacon. Bacon and prime rib, folks. What do you think? Comment below. Does that sound like a good combination?
Bacon and anything.
Yeah. There's always people put these memes up on bacon and what, and you can't say eggs. And I'm always like, eggs. And so you can't say eggs. I said, no, I can say eggs. I proved it. I just said eggs. You might not be able to say eggs, but I can. But yeah, bacon goes... I've had bacon on ice cream before. You make Count praline bacon? Oven bacon?
Don't they make a bacon ice cream now?
They probably do if you look hard enough. Alright, so I'm just going to do a rough peel. These are washed. And the only reason I'm peeling the russet, I'm not going to peel the goldens because Mom and I both agree that you peel a potato, you're throwing away a lot of the nutrients. But because this is what I want to boil down to a slurry of mush, I don't want the skins on the russet potato. So the russet's going to have to be peeled for this one.
And that's where your fiber is in the skin.
Yeah. Now you don't have to do the russet if you don't like that that texture for your soups. That's fine. Don't put the russet in. Or if you just want to not boil potatoes as long as you normally would, you can use russets all the way through and just don't boil them until the point they fall apart. Just boil them until they're done. I've looked at a couple different recipes online, and I'm not following any one in particular because I didn't agree with the way that they, might have done this or done that. To me, a russet is not really a boiling potato, but I will use it if I know, like in something like this, where I want to boil it down and turn it into that, so it disintegrates into that paste, kind of, not really paste, just for texture, I guess. I will boil a russet if I'm going to fry it later. Like if I want fried potatoes and I don't want to start from scratch, you boil your russets and then you put that in the fryer or in some hot oil, and that boils down to boils down to pretty much nothing. Because I'm sorry, if you boil it first, it cooks faster and it crisps up because you've already got a lot of that starch pulled out and the water comes out in the boiling, so it's a drier potato, believe it or not, even though it's boiled. All right, so that's going to go in there. Time to boil the snot out of that. And we'll be back when those potatoes are ready to be mashed up. So we'll be back in a few minutes. The russet potatoes are cooked through. They're very soft. I took a little taste and don't need much salt. There's quite a bit of salt in the au jus, but I do need a little bit, I think. Potatoes are a very hearty vegetable. They can take a lot of salt. It does need pepper. So I'll give it several cranks. Okay. Now we'll go in the baby potatoes. I cut into about 8 pieces. The small ones only 4. A couple bigger ones had to go into 12 pieces, but they're chunked down into bite size. They're going to go in. I'm also going to put in the prime rib that wasn't on the bone. Need that to cook through a little bit. Give that a stir. I think that'll be good. Go ahead and get the cover back on. Actually, I'm going to add just a little bit of water to that. If I had some more broth, I would add some broth. Because I do have more meat to go in, so it is going to thicken up a little bit as far as meat goes. So I'll put a little more water in there, bring that back to a boil, and get those potatoes cooked through. Then we'll put in the last bit of meat and some cream, and we'll have a taste. So back in just a moment. So this has been going total time for about an hour, and I can still put my hand on the outside edge of this induction cooker. Yeah, I'm really happy with this. The full review will be, the initial review should already be up, but the full review after I've used it for a couple months, I think I'm going to be extremely happy with it. The only downfall that I see is that sticker still stuck there. Not the sticker, the adhesive. So it's been going for about an hour and a half, or about an hour. The russets first, they are really soft. They didn't fall apart like I hoped they would. Was that the other bay leaf? No, found one of the 2 bay leaves I put in there. The yellow potatoes are now done. I've got the last of the prime rib. I almost said pot roast. Pot roast would be good in here too. The last of the prime rib is in there. Now I'm going to add, I'm start with about a cup of cream. I'll just use the ladle to stir it. And I do have a pretty big pot full, so I'm probably going to have to add the other cup. And I might even have to do a little bit of flour and milk for thickener on this. Unless you don't mind your soup being thin.
I don't care.
I think I'll go ahead and I'll add the last, let's see here. Yeah, I can take it. It'll take it. So this, because I have a lot in there, took 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. I am going to put a little more salt in it. A little more pepper. Quite a bit more pepper. Again, potatoes are a hearty vegetable. They can take a lot of seasoning. Alright, now if you want to add a thickener, you could add a little bit of flour mixed with some cold milk or cold water to thicken this up a little bit, or a little cornstarch done the same way, a little slurry, if you want a true creamy potato soup. But this looks good to me. Alright, I'll get it close up and get a bowl poured, and then we're going to have a taste. I think mushrooms would have been a good addition to this too.
Oh, you want a can to throw in?
Nah. Add some broth. So, I'm going to add, I don't think you're going to disagree with this, a little bit of cheese.
You never disagree with cheese.
Some green onion for color and garnish. And if you wanted, you could put a little bit of crumbled up bacon on there. So make like a baked potato, and then you put a dollop of sour cream on it if you wanted it.
You can do whatever turns your crank.
A piece of potato and a piece of pot pie. I keep saying it pot pie. Prime rib, that's what it is.
Why do you want to keep calling it
Pot roast is where I'm going with it, but it's kind of like a pot roast. I mean, prime rib, come on. But if you have leftovers, make it in a soup. Oh, this is some of the best soup we've had in a while. The flavor, it's so unctuous. That's good soup. Yeah.
That was my leftover prime rib in there. That's what made it good.
Oh, mine was in there too. I had some leftover prime rib. Yeah, she gave me the bones. She was asking, well, what should I do with the bones? Should I just toss them, or should I make something else? So I found something to make out of them. I would have normally just put them back on the broiler, cook them through, and then eat them off the bone. But to do it in a soup, because I know she would just mention comfort foods, and she said potato soup was her comfort food. I was thinking, what goes good with potato? And that's, steak. And prime rib is basically ribeye before you cut it. So it's like steak and potato soup right there. That's good. I don't think it needs bacon at all. I don't think it needs anything. No crackers.
Oh, your father would crumble up crackers in there.
If it was on my plate, I'd probably put a crack, just a little more black pepper, and maybe a dash of hot sauce. But that's good soup, folks. Don't throw leftovers away. Make soup.
Right.
You can do this with leftover rotisserie chicken. You can do it with leftover pork chops. You can make a soup out of pork chops, believe it or not. Save the bones, boil the bones.
Ham bone.
Yeah, don't ever, if you're in the mood for soup, don't ever throw your bones away, because you can use the carcass of a rotisserie chicken. You can use the bones out of a pork chop. Once you eat the pork off the pork chop, save those bones. You can boil those down and get flavor out of those too. And you can make yourself soups and stews and pot pies and all sorts of things out of your leftovers. But you need the meat and you need the bone to make your broth, to make your
I
stock.
think I got a ham bone in the freezer.
Yeah, we can do another soup, but that's delicious, folks. Again, I didn't do a recipe with amounts. It's just your bones and meat simmered down with the broth, Then you add your onions and celery. You can saute them before if you want. Get those cooked down. Then you throw in some potatoes, get those cooked through, and put your meat back in that you picked off the bones, and salt, pepper to taste, bay leaf. And that's it, that's soup. It's not hard to do. It's all by, you kind of eyeball with how much you have left over is how much you're going to use. Then you kind of base that, saying, well, I have that much chicken or that much prime rib, I'm going to need this much potato. So you're never going to know exactly, well, I need 1 cup of this and 1 cup of that, because you're going to have maybe not quite a cup of meat, or you might have a cup and a half or 2 cups of meat, and it's just go by judgment, go by your best judgment.
Now, would you have put bay leaf in there?
I wouldn't have. I mean, maybe. Bay leaf, for me, I do that with more like a vegetable soup, or a bean or a bacon, or split pea. I don't know if I would have done that in there. It doesn't take away from it. I like it either way. But that's good. All right, folks. Give it a try. Don't throw away your leftovers. Make something delicious with them.
Invite us over for dinner.
Yes, if you're in the Birmingham area, let us know. We'll come over for dinner. If you let us know, we might even show up early and help you cook.
Or not.
Or not. But she does really good at cleaning the kitchen after cooking, so she can come over and clean your kitchen for you.
Thanks a lot.
Bye, folks. Have a great day.